I don't understand the tears simply because she didn't do anything to other human beings in terms of physically harming them. She misspoke. And I called her out on it because it was a heightened level of insensitivity considering the fact that she's a woman, considering the fact that she has a daughter. Your response appeared to be all about Baylor and being protective of Baylor and talking about protecting the women of Baylor. Nobody was speaking against the women of Baylor. We were speaking on behalf of the women of Baylor who had been victimized by numerous players and seemingly a culture that was so insidious. I think the death penalty warrants consideration. When you talk about, 17 cases here, 17 cases, at least 17 women who reported being sexually assaulted by 19 football players. This is according to Baylor officials. And then they go on to talk about how that puts the number, when you talk about the culture of sexual violence, it puts the number at more than 50 acts of rape over a 4-year period. Mulkey knew this when she said what she said, but she still goes out in front of thousands of people and talking about punching somebody in the face who has something to say about Baylor. And only when the heat was brought down upon her did she see the error of her ways, which I'm not sure she still understands. The error of her ways is that she was acting as if folks were attacking the women when folk were actually speaking up on behalf of those women at Baylor who had been victimized. And we're talking about a culture that's very, very insidious. So I think that she really needs to check herself. I'm happy to some degree. It seems that she has. But I really think she needs to think about what she's saying and understand and comprehend. Again, we're in support of those victims. We're not speaking against the women of Baylor. And certainly those women who were victimized were not victimized by women of Baylor. So nobody's talking about them in a negative fashion. As it pertains to Browse, all I'm going to say is this. If you are Art Browse, who has been a guest on this show, who we were all fond of having on this show, very, very supportive of First Take, back in the day when we were in Dallas for the national championship game and all of this other stuff, thinking that Baylor should have been a participant in it all. Art Browse seems to be a very nice guy. The RG3s of the world and others were incredibly supportive of him while they played for him. It's only important, Max, that I say this. If you are Art Browse, 60 Minute Sports, Wall Street Journal, Baylor's own investigation, the demotion of Kenneth Starr, the university president, athletic director, gone, athletic administrators, Title IX coordinators, gone. If you are Art Browse and you are this innocent, then what the hell did you resign for? Why did you leave? Why didn't you fight this to the death if you're so innocent? Because I'm here to tell you something right now. I would, as much as I would want to quell the noise and squash it, Max, somebody accuses me of being an enabler of sexual assault and rape. We're fighting to the death if I know I'm innocent. So I really don't want to hear that from Art Browse right now.
I think if you look at these two situations, they need to be treated very differently. Mulkey was speaking in front of a crowd trying to fire him up, a defensive kind of situation. She's a woman at Baylor, coaching women at Baylor, and she's pro the institution, although I agree with your point that no one's attacking the women at Baylor in the press. In fact, they're protective and supportive of the women at Baylor. But however misguided you believe she may have been, she feels good about the institution, at least aspects of it, and she's speaking up for it because she's there. She went to a place with her words that she shouldn't have gone. You could claim inciting violence. But she made, they were words. It was not actual behavior. And so she addressed it with words. She took it back. She said it was a mistake. It was irresponsible. And she got upset about it. And that's good enough for me. It's not that it excuses the words in the first place, the choice of words in the first place, because public people need to choose them carefully, as you and I and others know. And no one's going to be perfect throughout their entire public life with the words they choose. And if you mess that up, you have to answer for it, which she did. She can't take it. She can't undo what she said, but she can say it was a mistake and I shouldn't have said it, etc., which she did. So I feel the same today as I felt about her after she initially said, shouldn't have said that. That's fine. When we're talking about Briles, that's something very different. There was behavior there, not just talk, behavior, that was unthinkably bad and ongoing, and he was a part of that institution, and you could argue a part of that institutional culture. And now, rather than showing contrition, he's doubling down on his innocence. And I think that people who have a bad feeling about him as a result of that, that's a justified feeling. So Mulkey, I'm okay with Mulkey. She shouldn't have said it. Bad idea. But I believe that she is contrite about it. And even if she's only jumping through that hoop publicly because she has to, okay, she is doing so. And Art Briles even refuses to do that. And that is not good.
Well, one of the things I think is incredibly important to point about when we go back to Briles, I get your point about Mulkey, and for the most part, I agree. She just went on an attack, and it was as if she was trying to depict a world that were victimizing Baylor women, as opposed to recognizing that there were those being protective of Baylor women, because the University of Baylor didn't seem to prioritize the protection of their own women. That is what I want to make sure, that dichotomy that exists between the public, what she accused the public of being, Baylor actually could be accused of being. That's the point that I wanted to make about that. As it pertains to Art Briles, we have an obligation to make sure everybody understands the heat that has been brought down to bear about Art Briles. Art Briles didn't sexually assault anybody. He didn't rape anybody that we know of. So he wants to sit up here and act like a victim. Well, let's highlight why. According to Baylor officials last month, reading from an article here, Baylor revealed text messages between Briles, assistant coaches, staff members that appear to show them trying to shield players from police and university discipline. It says here in one instance, when shown a list of names of players a woman said attacked her, Briles allegedly responded, "Those are some bad dudes. Why was she around those guys?" Now he comes out, he calls for full disclosure, okay? And we're talking about these investigations, but you're looking at communication with him and assistant coaches. There appears to be something you would appreciate, considering your affinity for politics, Max. You'd appreciate this word, plausible deniability. When you're sitting up there and you're texting with somebody, it ain't you directly, but the dudes working under you engage in acts involving negligence, turning the other cheek, and such, and there's plausible deniability on your part. I'm not sure that's the case, but it's important to recognize Baylor is the one that released this information.
You brought it up, Stephen A. You brought up the death penalty earlier. Why have that remedy if you don't use it in this case? And if you're the coach of a team that deserves the death penalty at an institution that deserves that, why do you continue to defend yourself?
As far as Kim Mulkey, she clearly sees the error in her ways and in her messaging. But as far as Art Briles, he continues to be in denial.